Welcome to part 2 of our favorite top 10 anchorages in the San Juan Islands. And by the way, if you didn't catch our last video, go ahead and watch that first, as it kind of sets the scene for this one. Hope you enjoy. As we introduce each of these favorite anchorages, you'll notice we've got a QR code next to them, and if you need any additional information, just select that QR code and it'll take you directly to the link in the Washington State Parks website. As we continue our top 10 countdown, number 5 is Obstruction Pass Marine State Park. That's on the southeast tip of Orcas Island. As you can see, this is a very sheltered and calm anchorage. It's protected on the south by Obstruction Island and to the north by Orcas. Sailing from Anacortes takes about 3 hours. We average about 5 knots. And it takes us typically through Thatcher Pass after crossing Rosario, and then we head north until we come to the southern tip of Orcas Island. If we miss the tide and the currents just don't favor us, we always have the option of going around the north end of Guimes Island and Cypress Island, crossing the northern part of Rosario Strait, coming in through Obstruction Pass, and still making Obstruction Pass State Park. This park is a favorite of kayakers and campers, whether by boat or car. There are picnic tables, campsites, trails through the woods, and any number of enjoyable places to set up a tent. We're getting ready to leave here. 3 buoys, 3 boats, and we're the last to go. Yeah. Check that out. You can see the rocks down there and the kelp and stuff under the water. So back here, it's probably, like I said, 5 or 6 feet maybe. But forward of the keel, it's 11.
Why aren't we on the bottom?
Because our keel is down at 6 feet or 5'8", and it's forward of where we're floating here. We're as far back as we're going to get. But think of this, we'll probably be here a couple more hours, or at least another hour and a half before we leave.
Is that why the other boats are?
Nah, they just must have been going somewhere. Number 4 in our countdown of favorite anchorages is Pelican Beach on the northeast corner of Cypress Island. While it's not completely sheltered from wind, it tends to be a fairly calm anchorage. Having 6 available mooring buoys is an added bonus. If you're lucky enough to catch the beginning of the flood, you can head out Guimes Channel and then north up Bellingham Channel, and the trip up to Pelican Beach takes roughly 2 hours. If you miss the beginning of the flood, an alternate route takes you around the north side of Guimes Island, across Bellingham Channel, and straight to Pelican Beach. This also has the advantage of having you on a beam reach with the wind. So this is Pelican Beach, it's called. That's Cypress Island here that we're looking at. This is Cypress Pelican Beach is on, and that's Guimes. Those are the Cone Islands over there. Even though Pelican Beach is a relatively shallow bite taken out of the northeast section of Cypress Island, it still provides enough wind shadow that a calm night on the mooring buoy is not at all unheard of. There's a fairly extensive trail system on Cypress Island, and Pelican Beach is actually connected by a trail back to Eagle Harbor. There's also facilities and campsites in several locations on Pelican Beach, so it's a really nice place to spend a night on shore.
Fall sailing or boating.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Maybe they'd want to come to Pelican.
That's a perfect idea.
Isn't it? It's
Yeah,
not
it's
far.
not far. You're guaranteed of a buoy.
Right.
And we can swing by Eagle. And if there's two buoys, we could stay at Eagle, but there won't be.
But if there aren't, then we need to keep going to Pelican.
Oh, absolutely. You smell that steak or whatever? It smells so good. There's always something exciting about boats leaving their anchorage in the morning. I guess it has something to do with a sense of adventure or discovering new things, new places. Anyway, a lot of fun to be there. Number 3 on our top 10 countdown is Spencer Spit State Park. That's on the island of Lopez, about 2.5 hours from Anacortes. While there's mooring buoys and decent holding both the north and south side of the spit, we prefer the south side because of the passing ferry wake on the north side. We almost always follow the direct route from Anacortes, which is down Guimi's Channel, basically heading west all the way across Rosario Strait in through Thatcher Pass, and then we come in on the south side of the spit. If we don't have a mooring buoy available, there's still great holding. Spencer Spit is a favorite for kayakers, and the state park is accessible via ferry going to Lopez Island, so it's often booked well in advance of any decent weekend. The spit itself has a lot of home-built shelters on it and really nice rocky beach. There's an estuary with waterfowl that I guess breed there. And here what looks like a snake is actually just a piece of kelp. Here we are at anchor. Spencer's Spit is actually located in the north end of Lopez Sound. So you're fairly protected from wind, even out of the south. You do occasionally get some rollers from passing boat traffic, but that's about the only thing that disturbs a night's sleep. Here's the hammock. There's our buoy bouncer. Seems to be working just fine. Here we are, Spencer Spit. We're able to use our buoy catcher, which is kind of nice. In the number 2 spot on our top 10 list is Eagle Harbor. This is on Cypress Island along Bellingham Channel, and it provides probably a dozen mooring buoys. Sailing to Eagle Harbor, we almost always use this same route, which is heading west out of Guimi's Channel, then north up Bellingham Channel, hopefully with the flood, because it really helps to have the current with you here. And then we arrive within an hour and 45 minutes. This harbor may have been named after all of the eagles that frequent the trees surrounding it. There's almost never a time that We haven't been able to look up and spot at least 2 or 3 eagles either nesting or flying around looking for a cheap meal out of the water. It's not uncommon, by the way, to actually have the birds swoop down near the boat and pick up fish near the surface while you're watching. In addition to offering a protected mooring, it also offers a really beautiful view of the sunsets. During the day, the south-facing rocks on the side of the harbor gather the heat from the sun, and here, by the way, you can see that emerald green water that's so famous here in the Northwest. Anyway, they gather the heat from the sun, and in the evening, well into late evening, you can feel the warmth coming back off of those rocks while you're at anchor. Here's another view of those rocks to give you an idea of just how massive they are. Because the head of the harbor is fairly shallow, you can see here that there are no mooring buoys closer in. Instead, they're all to the outside of the entrance to the harbor. And there we are. You notice the vegetation here is very similar to other parts of western Washington and not quite as arid as some of the other San Juan Islands. I also noted that there aren't any, at least to my memory, I don't remember seeing any actual campgrounds, picnic tables, campsites, fire pits, things like that in the immediate vicinity of Eagle Harbor. But there are these trails that do in fact head to other areas on Cypress Island that do in fact have some campsites.
Yeah.
And the number one choice in our top 10 list is Sucia Marine State Park. I'll introduce the bays and coves in a counterclockwise direction, starting with Snoring Bay. There are 2 mooring buoys in Snoring Bay, and the holding is good. Unfortunately, it's open to winds out of the south, and that really can tend to bring a lot of large swells into the bay. Moving north, the next bay is Echo Bay, which is the largest bay on Sucia and probably the most popular one. Excellent holding, lots of mooring, beautiful sunsets, and a really relaxing place to spend the night. A small cove on the north side of Echo Bay is Ewing Cove. It's very rocky with a somewhat dangerous entrance. It has 4 mooring buoys, and it's a very comfortable place to spend the night on a buoy. Here you see some of the rocks at the entrance to Ewing Cove. Again, this is looking out Ewing Cove to the east, and it's a beautiful scene. On the west side of Sucia, you have Shallow Bay, which is very shallow, as the name implies, and it has a reef at the entrance with a couple of markers to make sure you don't run into the reef. To the south of Shallow Bay is Fox Cove, which also has a reef at its entrance, and it's very dangerous unless you're paying attention to your charts. Fox Cove is also somewhat shallow, especially toward the southwest or the southeast part of the bay. Here you can see kind of how shallow it is. I guess that's our boat in the distance. As we continue our counterclockwise circumnavigation, we hit Fossil Bay, which is probably the second or third most popular bay on Sucia. It's also fairly shallow, but again, it's got a couple of docks which really make it a nice place. It's got amazing camping in the area. If we're lucky enough to catch the flood, the trip from Anacortes all the way up to Sucia takes about 4 hours, sometimes a few minutes more than that, but it's basically in direct line with the current, again, if you're on a flood. As you can see, Echo Bay is fairly large. There's probably a dozen, maybe 2 dozen mooring buoys. There's a couple of, well, I call them rope buoys. Technically, it's linear moorage. And there's lots of space to anchor, although it's worth noting that along the northern edge of Echo Bay, there are a lot of rocks just under the water's surface, so it's worth being very careful and watching your charts. Just taking the dinghy around from little island to island, just under the water, it was real obvious that there were some really large rocks, and you really don't want to hit any of those with your boat. So this is the rope buoy at Sucia. We're on the beach on the shore right now of Echo Bay on Sucia. Just really beautiful little campsite setting back in the woods.
And get this, because you know we've had such a drought in Washington, Western Washington, which is very unusual.
Oh, no fire, not even charcoal.
You can't have the fire, like, so these group with the area group, like Boy Scouts,
They have to use propane.
they couldn't use wood fires.
Yeah, butane or propane, I guess.
Yep.
Wonder where these
So,
these trails just go back to other campsites back there.
Show how pretty this campsite is. Actually, let's go back to this other campsite that is a little deeper in the woods here.
You're just trying to get me deep in the woods, right? Well, I'm dropping breadcrumbs just in case. Wait a minute, didn't the birds eat them and Hansel and Gretel ended up at a witch's house?
Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Gorgeous
Check this
campsite.
out.
Oh, somebody even made a bench.
Wow.
Probably a Boy Scout.
Yeah. You can see
And
that.
then,
And it keeps going.
oh look! Look
Little
at the
chair.
little chair. It's like for a kid. That's super cute.
That is.
Okay, and then if you go this way.
Yeah, why not? We're already at the beach. Wow. Now this is shallow bay over here.
Yeah.
And it is actually shallow. And then we've got our ubiquitous arbutus, also known as madrona. And completely hollowed out caverns here. Wow, the arbutus, madrona, it's amazing, isn't it? They seem to be healthy this year too. Sucia has many miles of hiking trails that connect the various bays and coves. Probably half a dozen major campgrounds, campsites that you can basically hike from one to another. We've actually come into Ewing Cove and hiked all the way down to Fossil Bay. It's really an amazing island in that all along the trails you've always got something, whether it's a view of the water or some magnificent trees to look at. Yeah, these sandals are not quite the best trail shoes, but hey, they work. Oh, it's nice and cool in the wind here, in the breeze.
Wow. There's quite a breeze blowing through here.
Yeah. So this is an area known as the China Caves. They do go way back in there. And part of the trail here comes around the back of the top of the cliff face there. Really amazing. These beaches just go on forever. You can kind of see why they call Sucia the jewel of the San Juan Islands.